Thursday, May 21st. You're watching the Sick Podcast. Trust the process. The Montreal Canadiens have no intentions of going anywhere. They advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, which kicks off tonight in Carolina. We're going to take a look back at the series that was against the Buffalo Sabres and preview the series to come against the Carolina Hurricanes. What to watch, major points in this series. We're going to break it all down. We're also going to talk about the Western Conference Finals, which kicked off last night. The Vegas Golden Knights take game one, but the Colorado Avalanche were shorthanded big time. We're going to talk about that, as well as the Memorial Cup, which kicks off tomorrow in Kelowna. We're going to look at the four teams involved in the tournament, some drafted prospects on each team, and which players to keep an eye on. The World Championships are well underway as we speak right now. Canada's down to Norway. What's going on? It's an interesting tournament. We're going to talk about it, and two great mailbag questions. As always, it's a packed show. It's a fun show, and it all starts right here, right now.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Trust the process. The sickest NHL prospect podcast with Snake and Shayne.
With the 5th overall selection in the 2024 NHL Draft, the Montreal Canadiens are proud to select Ivan Demidov.
It's gonna be sick.
That's right, producer Shayne here, joined as always by my co-host Simon the Snake Boisvert. Snake, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, Shayne, and you?
Excellent. The weather is impeccable here in Montreal. You know what? The NHL playoffs are getting as interesting as they've ever been. And I would be remiss if I didn't give major congratulations to la Victoire de Montréal, who have won the Walter Cup last night. Marie-Philippe Poulin, MPP, is your MVP. Congratulations to the girls. Hard work. And now moving forward, 4 expansion teams in the PWHL. We've got Detroit. We've got Hamilton. San Jose got added to the list, and Vegas. So it's going to be tough competition next season, but the girls did it all this year. So congratulations to them. Hopefully the first of maybe 2 parades in Montreal. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I know, but it's fun to dream. Snake, we got to talk now about the other Montreal team still in the playoffs, that being the Canadiens, who beat the Buffalo Sabres in 7 games. Last show, we were talking about, okay, well, Thursday, we're either doing a season recap or a series preview. We're doing a series preview, but we're also going to do a series recap of the Canadiens and the Sabres. Take it to 7 games. The first period in Game 7 was good. They come out 2-0. Excellent first period. Next 2, not so good. But made it to overtime. They won the overtime, and that's the series, baby. Snake, any final thoughts on the Canadian Sabres?
Well, I think Dobeš obviously was the key factor in the series, because the last game, I mean, they were pretty much, like you say, for 2 periods plus the overtime. I mean, the Sabres dominated. But Dobeš was there, but they also played well defensively, I have to say. It didn't hurt also that the ref blew the whistle just before the goal.
It wouldn't have been a goal, though. It pushed the pad. It wouldn't have been a goal.
No, it wasn't. It was covered.
Yeah. So Dobeš had under his pad. Greenway pushed the puck, and then Malenstein tapped it in. But
okay. So the puck wasn't rolling.
It wouldn't have been a goal.
Okay, basically it's a non-event. It's a non-event, because I wasn't sure when I saw the replay a few times. But Tage Thompson at some point who tried to do a little bit too much in the overtime period. And that was probably the Sabres' best chance. But the Habs also had chances. I remember Josh Anderson at some point.
Yeah.
So, look, the Habs, it's really a well-deserved Final Four for them.
Yeah.
Because they beat 2 teams that were in the top 5 this year in the NHL. And now they're facing the number 2 seed. So, if they reach the finals, I mean, no one can say, because I said it myself, 86-93, they got a little bit of luck because some great teams were eliminated. And I remember the Pittsburgh Penguins in 1993. But this year, if they reach the finals, there is absolutely no, I wouldn't call it luck, but I mean, there's no excuses for those who think that they don't deserve it, let's say.
Oh, Snake, I've seen some stuff on social media, and I understand I probably shouldn't be looking because social media is a cesspool of stupidity. Let's be honest here. But I've seen some people say that the Habs are the luckiest team to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Give me a break. They're the youngest team in the playoffs. They beat the 5th seed and the 4th seed, or the 3rd, whatever it may be. They earned that spot. You know what I mean? Make of the game 7s as you will. Jakub Dobeš is a part of the team. It's not luck, right? It's good goaltending. It's good defending.
I think the reason why some people are saying this is because both series were very, very evenly matched.
Yeah.
I think all 3 teams, I mean, you do a round robin, who knows who's going to win? It might take 100 rounds before one team really, really stands out from the pack. So I think the reason why they're saying that they were lucky is that basically they had 2 very evenly matched series that they both won by 1 goal in game 7. Because, of course, it could have gone either way. They could have lost against them.
Of course.
They could have lost against Buffalo. But you know what? They won. Yeah. So what is it going to be against Carolina? I mean, that's another question. Lots of... I wouldn't say lots of, but some unknowns in that series, which make it, I wouldn't say it's hard to predict or analyze, but I would say that there are still factors that could play in favor of the Habs.
Yeah, we're going to talk about those. But last point I want to make about the Buffalo series, this was the coming out party for Alex Newhook, right? He scored, obviously, the series winner against Tampa Bay, but Snake does it again. Yep. Overtime hero in game 7, but overall, throughout all 7 games, he was fantastic. Obviously, very involved on the score sheet. Do you think this is sustainable for Newhook? Have the Habs found, okay, this guy could really be a top 6 option for the long-term future?
Look, I like Newhook. We've discussed it before, how high I had him ranked in 2019. So obviously, I would love to be able to say that Alex Newhook is going to score 35 goals a year. Okay, I would love it because it would make my draft day prediction go right. However, I don't think this is sustainable in this case. I think he's more like I think his ideal spot is a 20 to 25 goal scorer on a 3rd line.
Yeah.
But when I say 3rd line, I mean a great team's 3rd line.
That's
because I think he could be a 2nd line option for lots of teams in the NHL. But I think he, over the course of a career, 82 games a season, he's proven so far that he's kind of a tweener between 2 and 3.
That's it.
So like I say, it's a 3rd line guy who can score, which is very important. And if there are injuries, and there's always injuries, he can always play on the 2nd line. So let's call him middle of the lineup player. Let's call him like this. I think he's a middle of the lineup player who can score 20 to 25 goals a year. Look, he scores 40. Good for him, good for me. But but I don't think so.
The pride of Newfoundland. Shout out to Alex Newhook, who has had remarkable playoffs and hopefully, can keep it going here against the Carolina Hurricanes. So let's talk about the next opponent for the Habs here. Starts off tonight, the Carolina Hurricanes, who won the East in the regular season. Obviously, by far the best team in the Metro Division. Debatable if they are the best team in the East or not, but point-wise, they are. Now, they're also undefeated in the playoffs. They have played the least possible amount of games to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Habs have played the most. So it's a very interesting dynamic. And furthermore on that, in the regular season, the Habs beat the Hurricanes 3 of the 3 times they played each other. So it's a really interesting, setup to this series, Snake. First, let's start with the season series, because a lot of people are saying, wow, the Habs took care of Carolina 3 times this year. This should be no problem for them. Is there any correlation to this to the regular season and the playoffs?
Because history has showed us that it doesn't mean anything either way.
Yeah.
So to me, I don't pay too much attention to this. I mean, very often we have these season series that go really the other way around in the playoffs.
That's it.
So to me, it's not a factor. 2 of those games, I remember Dobeš was very, very, very good because Carolina dominated. Is it going to be the same thing in the playoffs? Over the course of a 7-game series, it's going to be hard. That's the thing. Because in the sense that Carolina, I have to say, not a team that I really enjoy watching, honestly. There's lots of teams in the NHL that I enjoy watching way more than Carolina. But I have to say, it is a very complete team. It is a very well-balanced team. And of their 18 regulars, 12 forwards and 6 defensemen, there is no hole.
No.
And that's the thing. There is no hole. Is there a superstar? No. Is there a Norris Trophy candidate? Not really. Slavin is very good defensively, but, he's not elite like, some of the other guys, Hudson and Hughes and McCarr and Werenski. But there are no holes. There's no player that you're afraid to send on the ice, and you have to shelter him. There's a guy like Nicky Lers, for instance. He's the perfect fit in Carolina, and he was not a good fit in Winnipeg. And the reason being, he scored 71 points. He's mostly a power play guy, and he has to be sheltered on a third line because he's not a very good defensive player. He's not a tough guy either. And if you put him in a hard matchup against the top 6 against the top 6 line, it's harder for him. But it's perfect. He's playing with Jordan Stahl, a master at defensive hockey. He's also playing with Jordan Martinook. So it's perfect for him. So it shows you how well balanced they are. The Aho, Svetnikov, and Jarvis line.
Yeah.
Not elite, but excellent.
Really good.
Second line has been crazy good in the playoffs. Taylor Hall resurrecting his career like every 2 years with someone. I mean, the guy is like, he has 9 lives. Jackson Blake, a very good find in the 4th round.
Yeah.
By Carolina. And Logan Stankoven, they really, really did a good job because they gave up a lot for Mikko Rantanen. And the guy wasn't going to resign.
No, he was gone.
And they could have kept him because, Carolina has been a contending team for years.
Yeah.
So what do? You're stuck. Wow. Great asset management by sending him to Dallas for Logan Stankoven, who did not have a great season, but he's having great playoffs. He's a good player. So how well balanced. And the 4th line, William Carrier, in my book, ever since he started his NHL career, has been probably the one of the best 4th line players in the league.
Yeah.
The guy, he's strong. He's a workhorse. He can score a few goals. He was a good offensive player in junior hockey because I was working with the Cape Breton Eagles when he was there. And I remember when I got there, and we got there around the same time. And I told the scout who drafted him, he was playing midget espoir, which is basically it's a notch lower than midget AAA. He didn't make the midget AAA team, and we got him in the 4th round. And I remember telling the scout, I go, "What a find!" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "I love his cockiness." And you know what? I met him. He's a fantastic guy. I spent time with him at the draft, at the Q draft years ago. Fantastic guy, but on the ice, he has that cocky side that you need. to make
he's
the NHL.
confident. Exactly. He's confident.
Oh, yeah, he's very confident. So all this to say that, wow, Carolina, it's really impressive. And on defense, again, it's K-Andre Miller. What a trade. Yeah, what a trade. I mean, why did the Rangers give up on him? Because he wasn't becoming the next, Ray Bourque, or
because they're the Rangers. I mean, they're actively looking for a replacement. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, he's not a superstar, but he's a great player. Can play like 25 minutes a game. And Chatfield also, and I mean, all of them.
Nikishin.
And Nikishin, yeah, fine rookie, goodness. Good two-way guy. Gostisbehere, he has his warts,
But offensively,
does the job. He's no Lynn Hudson, but he can run a power play. They have a great power play unit with the top line, Gostisbehere and Nick Ehlers. And so, it's interesting because their affiliate Chicago Wolves are still in the playoffs in the AHL. And I look at the names, Bradley Nadeau, Justin Robida,
Ryan Suzuki.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the NHL, but Robida had 3 points in 4 games this year.
Yeah,
Bradley Nadeau is knocking on the door. They have Kotkaniemi on the press box, but that's another story. But, and there's a big but, Freddie Anderson. He was very good so far, and he had moments in Toronto when he was good, and Anaheim also at the beginning. But if the Habs have a chance to beat that team, it's going to be the goaltending.
Which is funny to say because he's been their best player so far.
Yeah, because remember when we talked about Buffalo, I picked Buffalo to win the series, but I said, the only caveat was Alex Lyon, UPL, and Alex Lyon, and UPL. That's pretty much what happened. So I think if the Habs win the series, I think it'll be because Anderson wasn't good. And Brendan Bussey, I mean, he had a good win-loss record.
Yeah.
But he was not very good this year. He's not very good either.
So that's the thing. 7 to the Habs at one point.
That's the thing with Carolina. If Carolina had, a Vasilevsky in net, I would say, okay, forget it. Okay, let's talk about next season. Because of that, I still think Carolina is going to win. I don't know about you, but my question mark for them is goaltending.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's kind of really hard as well to predict how this series is going to go. It's mainly because of the rest or rust factor. The Habs are in a groove. I mean, they've just played 2 7-game series. They're feeling it. They've played more games, obviously, than Carolina. So in a sense, I mean, maybe they're more prepared, but Carolina's way more rested. I mean, they've had 13 days off. It's 2 weeks off. Like you could have gone to Cancun, grab a drink, lay by the beach, hang out, wait for the series to be over, and come back. Like they had, anyways. It's pretty remarkable. But I'm really curious to see how this game 1 goes, and I think game 1 is probably going to dictate how this series goes.
Well, I think the Habs have to take advantage that Carolina is going to be rusty and win game 1, because as the series will go on, I mean, and Carolina is a team, as you know, that puts a lot of pressure in the offensive zone.
Yeah, relentless.
They grind, they forecheck, they win puck battles, and they shoot. I mean, it's not always like great scoring chances, but it's still shots on goal. It's a bombardment in a way. And they're really like, oh boy, they're suffocating for the opponent. So as the series goes on, I think that's where you can see that perhaps the Habs could run out of gas.
Yeah.
So that's why they have to take advantage of game 1 when Carolina will be just like getting back into the groove. I mean, 12 days off. You don't see this during the regular season except the Olympic break. The only thing is when you go on the Olympic break, everybody else goes on the Olympic break except the players who go to the Olympics. Now, the Habs still had 2 days rest, which is not bad. But I don't know about their injury situation. You never know. Whereas Carolina is probably fine.
I would imagine. Yeah, I know. And look, a lot of players they look a little injured, right? And we're no doctors, so we're not going to make assumptions here. But I think once the season is over and we get the injury report, it might be pretty long, but nonetheless, they're able to play and they're winning series. That's what matters. Snake, an interesting fact that I searched up here: the Carolina Hurricanes love to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. However, for some reason, they don't love to get to the Stanley Cup Finals because
they're 1-12. They're 1-12.
Since 2019, they've made the conference finals 3 times. This is the 4th. In those 3 times, they have won 1 single game. They've been swept twice and bounced in 5 this last year. How can you begin to explain that?
Well, I think there was always a better team. And that's the thing. When you're a Stanley Cup contender, you might build a fantastic team. But year after year after year, there could always be one team and only one team better than you. I mean, you look at the San Jose Sharks between, 2003 and 2019 or 18, for 15 years.
Yeah.
The Sharks were probably the best team in the NHL for that 15-year period. But they only made 1 Stanley Cup Finals because there was always a team that was better than them. There was Chicago, there was Los Angeles, there was Detroit. But all these teams had ups and downs, but the Sharks were always good.
Yeah.
So I think Carolina, it's pretty much what it is. They've been very good for the last 7-8 years, but they always lack that little something to beat what was at the time a better team than them.
Yeah. It's it's crazy stat, really, but I think I'd be willing to bet that they're going to win more than 1 game in this series.
Wins and losses in the playoffs is very strange because Carolina, the Habs right now are 8-6. When you think about it, 8-6 is okay. It's a good record, but it's not 8-0. And imagine, let's say the Habs lose in 5 games. Okay, let's say. They would be 9-10. But who cares? They reached the Final Four.
Yeah.
So that's why that win-loss record in the playoffs, it doesn't mean anything. The important thing is to win the important games. So you can win the Stanley Cup with a 16-12 record. Think about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you win all the series 4-3. Let's say the Habs win all their series in 7. They win the Stanley Cup. And they're only 16-12. Because you're facing the same team for like 2 weeks. It's such a different animal than the regular season, where basically you end up, let's say, playing on the road on Wednesday night in Detroit. Then you come back to the Bell Center and you're playing, Boston, who's been well rested because they traveled the day before, and vice versa. So that's why the regular season, if you analyze like the 3 losses or the 3 wins by the Habs against Carolina, what were the circumstances? At what time of the year? Who was injured? Who played the night before? Whereas during the playoffs, it's evenly matched. Yeah. You play at the same time. Obviously, you travel at the same time. And that's why some series, and that's why I think there are so many so-called surprises in the playoffs. If you compare teams with the regular season. Another thing is, when there were like 21 teams and 16 of them made the playoffs, there was a big gap between number 1 and number 16 in the standings. I mean, number 16 team was basically a bad team. Now, if you look at Carolina, how many points did they get? 112?
I believe so.
Yeah. And the Habs got what? 106?
106.
Okay. It's a 6-point difference, 3 wins. That's nothing.
No, exactly.
That's absolutely nothing when you think about it. So that's why looking at regular season standings to predict winners in the playoffs very often is not an accurate way of predicting what's going to happen.
That's why the President Trophy winner rarely wins the cup. Yeah. I mean, the last time I think was the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So,
But there are some outstanding seasons, like Boston a few years ago at 135 points.
yeah,
I mean, that
got
was
bounced in the first round.
Yeah, but that was something else.
Yeah.
But if you're going to win if you're going to look at the conference, Tampa 109, Buffalo 109, Tampa 108, Habs 106, Carolina 112. Sometimes the record is influenced by a bad or good streak in October.
Yeah,
which is not really indicative of what the teams are.
no.
So anyway, long parentheses to say that that's why it's hard to predict playoffs. You have to look at matchups. You have to analyze so many factors. But in the long run, except let's say for Colorado and Los Angeles in the first round, we all knew that it was a mismatch.
Yeah.
Every other series, you couldn't really tell. I even thought Ottawa was going to be good against Carolina.
Listen, the analytics would agree with you. Ottawa had numbers wise, had a good season, but couldn't put it together in the playoffs. That's the beauty of the playoffs. However, you get these unsung heroes, these great stories that come out of nowhere. So, I think the Habs have been a really good story in these playoffs. The youngest team, not showing, but sometimes it is showing. Snake, we determined that the season series maybe doesn't hold a lot of weight come playoff time. But how about individual player performances?
Yeah.
Because in the 3 games this season against the Carolina Hurricanes, Cole Caulfield had 5 points. Nick Suzuki had 5 points. Juraj Slafkovsky had 5 points. Ivan Demidov had 5 points. Does that indicate anything to you?
Well, the only thing that it shows me, and I'm going to look at the first couple of series, is that the top line at 5-on-5 wasn't very good. I mean, in terms of scoring goals, I think they scored 2 goals at 5-on-5 in 14 games. Suzuki had 3 points in 14 games, although he played well. He was a well-rounded player. Caulfield, I mean, forget it. He's been invisible. Slafkovsky, I think, probably would have had better playoffs had he not gotten into this fight. Like you say, we're not doctors, but I don't know if there's something with him because he hasn't been as good as we thought he could be in the playoffs.
It's been weird for him because it's been up and down. Like ever since the fight, he's had really good moments, and then follows it up with.
He's been inconsistent. He's been inconsistent. So I don't know if the top line is going to produce more against Carolina, but one thing is sure, the law of averages says yes.
They're bound to unlock at some point. But on the flip side, Carolina's top line hasn't done much, right?
Exactly.
Ahos, Svechnikov, Jarvis, 5-on-5. I mean, I think combined they have like 2 points. You know what I mean? So listen, I'm a big Seth Jarvis guy. I really love that player.
He's very good. He's
probably my favorite on the Hurricanes. So easy to root for. There's a reason why Team Canada picked him to go to the Olympics. So I would be weary of that line as well. Similar to the Habs, could unlock at any moment, really.
Yeah. From one series to the other, you never know. Maybe, perhaps Newhook won't be good in this series. We don't know. Maybe Caulfield will score 4 goals. We don't know.
That's the beauty of the playoffs. Listen, it all kicks off tonight, 8 p.m. in Carolina. But here at the Sick Podcast, we've got you covered even before that. At 7 p.m., we are live on Habs Tonight. Myself and the crew are going to preview this game. We've got some special guests. It's going to be a great time. And then Tony is live right after the game. Most likely going to be Pierre Maguire, Brian Wild with him. Who knows? He's had Chris Knuckles-Nyland on there a few times. Just have to tune in to find out. But it's going to be a great post-game show. So we've got you covered here at the Sick Podcast. Now, Snake, last night was the start of the Western Conference Finals between the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights. And prior to the game, we got news that Cale Makar was not going to be suiting up. Significant loss is an understatement.
Yeah.
So obviously, Colorado was coming into the game shorthanded. However, Vegas was also missing Mark Stone. So, Cale Makar, Mark Stone, it's still unbalanced. However, they were both missing key pieces Vegas takes game 1, 4-2 with an empty netter at the end of the game. Any takeaways, any predictions for this one in particular?
Yeah. I think that, Makar's absence is something, and especially with all the rest that Colorado had, it means that the injury is probably a little bit more severe than just a bruise or something. Now, especially knowing that in the playoffs, players play injured. So if he's not playing and they haven't been playing in a week, he's really injured.
Cutter Gauthier broke his back.
Yeah, I know. So I don't put too much stock into game 1. And a lot of people jump to conclusions. Like, remember when Buffalo won? Series over.
Yeah, no.
So, look, I don't put too much stock into game 1. Game 2, however, is going to be more important, especially that Colorado is playing at home. But Colorado has been playing with fire in the playoffs. Very often they would fall behind 2-3 goals. They would come back. They did it against Minnesota at the end. Yesterday, they were on their way to a comeback.
Yeah.
They just ran out of time, and then there was an empty net goal. It's going to be tough because Vegas did not have a great regular season. They won the Pacific Division crown by default, really.
Yeah.
And they had a hard time against Anaheim at first, but at some point, they really picked up. Okay, they really elevated their play, especially a guy like Mitch Marner. And they've become dangerous opponents for the Habs. I had the Habs, winning the series.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be tough.
Oh,
it's gonna be tough.
Might go long,
Vegas is Vegas. I don't know how they do it. They always seem to, because there's a lot of churn on that team. I mean, players come and go, but they always manage to get these stars who replace other stars.
Yeah. And
I don't know. There's something about that team. You really, really have to worry about them. So, look, another great series. Great series.
My goodness, ever.
Yeah. Habs better win the next game.
That's it.
Because then if they lose, they're going to have to win 4 out of 5. It's going to be hard against Vegas.
Yeah, and the next 2 on the road.
But they have enough depth, I think, to make up for Makar's absence. And hopefully for them, Makar's absence is not going to be too long because he was not himself in the series against Minnesota.
Yeah, apparently he's day-to-day. Yeah. So could get him back for game 2. But yeah, I mean, Colorado's a wagon. But listen, Vegas, Mitch Marner, you mentioned him, but Pavel Dorofeyev.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot stop scoring. It's really impressive. And, furthers the discussion on what they're going to do this summer. He's an RFA. He's going to get paid because he had a really good season, and they do not have the money currently, so they're going to have to get creative here.
They have Trevor Conley waiting in the wings.
This is going to make a great discussion.
No, but I mean, they're going to have to have an influx of young players. They've traded all of their first-round picks ever since they started in 2017. Only Conley's left.
Yeah,
they don't have first-round picks in the next couple of years. So I think they're going to have at least 1 or 2 young players to replace one of the guys that they might have to trade. But the salary cap's going up $9 million. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Look, it's kind of and look at Carter Hart. I mean, that signing was highly criticized, and he's been good in the playoffs so far.
And I don't know how long that'll last, but
no, you don't know.
Season it was.
He hadn't played in 2 years. But of the 5 players who were in court, he's the only one who really came back to the NHL.
Yeah, look, you could think of him what you will. We're not going to tell you what to think of the player, but point is, we're only going to talk about what's done on the ice. On the ice so far,
he's been good.
He's really helped the Vegas Golden Knights, and I'm on Puckpedia right now. They're projected to have a little over $4.5 million in cap space next year. So That's not going to cut it for Pavel Dorofeyev. They're going to have to get creative and make some moves. Obviously, you got guys like, oh my God, the Thomas Hertl contract. This guy's 32. He's signed until 2030, and he's got a modified no trade clause. Good luck with that one. Anyways, well,
he's starting to be good now. He's starting to be good now.
Oh, he's not bad player.
They're very strong in the middle. These guys.
Very strong. William Karlsson. They got Nick Dowd, scored the empty netter. Jack Eichel. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's it. Listen, this is mostly going to cross our off-season discussions because I think the Vegas Golden Knights will be an interesting team to follow along and maybe potentially a trade partner for the Canadiens. Who knows? They've done it before.
Maybe they can send Trevor Connolly to the Habs.
I don't know how that clears cap space, but I won't say no to that. I won't say no to that. Yeah.
No, but as part of a bigger deal, let's say.
Yeah.
Look, getting look. If I were any GM in the league, I would go after Trevor Connolly.
Oh, I know that. I know that. Yeah. Hey, listen, he's been good. He's been really good. So, credit to you for getting on him early. Snake, we're gonna keep talking about the series. That series and the Eastern Conference Finals on Monday. But right now, we're going to move along here. And before we do, quick word from our friends at Cheapest T-Shirts.
Stop overpaying. Buying t-shirts, hoodies, or blank apparel, same brands, same products, lower prices, no minimums. Buy one or 1,000, same price. Fast Canada shipping. Multiple warehouses. Stop overpaying. Visit cheapesttshirts.ca.
And we thank Cheapest T-Shirts, our good buddy Nick. He's the man. Watch the game with him at Cafe Milano. Game number 5. It was a blast. So shout out to Nick. Shout out to Cheapest T-Shirts. And a word as well for Betway, where you can get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 18 years or older. Please play responsibly. Tomorrow, Snake, in Kelowna, kicks off the Memorial Cup. We know the 4 teams that are going to be involved. Obviously, the Kelowna Rockets are the hosts. The Kitchener Rangers are the OHL champions. Les Saguenayens de Chicoutimi won the Q, and the Everett Silvertips are the WHL champions. Now, we can get into predictions a little later on, but I'd like to talk about the individual players that are going to be playing in this tournament, more specifically, the drafted players, NHL affiliates. The Kitchener Rangers have the most NHL drafted players. Let's take a look at the list real quick here. We'll notice that there is a Montreal Canadian there, Andrew McNeil, who was picked 189th, so make of that what you will. But they've got some really high-end players here. Cameron Reed is the one that's out, of course, for the Nashville Predators, 21st overall in the first round in 2025. But Anthony Romano is also pretty highly picked player. What do you make of the long list of drafted players for the Rangers?
I think most of them will not make the NHL. However, I do like Sam O'Reilly. He was playing with the London Knights last year. I think he's your typical third line center in the NHL. Like responsible defensively. He's going to be able to score a few goals. He's a good leader, and he's a winner. He's a competitor. And I think it was a good. I think it was a very good pick at 32nd overall. Romano was one of my sleepers for at the 2025 draft. I don't know if he's going to make it, but I think he's worthy of following. Christian Kirsch, San Jose Sharks goalie. He's one of those 4th, 5th round goalies that you never know.
Yeah.
He's been good this year. Don't know where he's going to go next year. I think he's going NCAA next year. So those are, I would say, the guys to watch on the Kitchener Rangers.
Yeah, no, they're a loaded team. No wonder why they won the OHL. And yeah, Sam O'Reilly was a beast for Team Canada, the World Juniors. He should be pretty good again at the Memorial Cup. He's been there, so I think he'll be one of their front men in this series. The next team with the most drafted players are the hosts, the Kelowna Rockets.
Yeah.
They've got a good amount. They've got 8 actually, and obviously Habs fans will notice Hayden Papanekas there, but Tisha Ginla, of course, drafted 6th overall. Peyton Kettles, 39th. Wojtek Shihar, 59th by the Kings in the last draft here. Do you think they stand a chance, or is this?
Look, they're the host team, and they haven't played in a month or so, and we've seen teams like that before. I remember Shawinigan doing it. They got eliminated very quickly. Then they had a long break. They were playing at home. They won the Memorial Cup. So it's not impossible, but on paper, in my book, they are the 4th best team out of 4.
Yeah.
Tisha Ginla, obviously a guy to watch because if he doesn't make the Utah Mammoth next year, he's probably going to be in the American Hockey League, because next year with the new rule, 19-year-old players drafted in the first round will be eligible to play in the AHL. I think he will be one of them if he doesn't make the Mammoth. Very interesting. Thomas Politin for the Islanders could be a sleeper. Carson Wetch just signed his contracts with the San Jose Sharks. He could be one of those bottom 6 players that the Sharks will need at some point to round out their team, and become a Stanley Cup contender, a good character player. And let's talk about Papanekas. Papanekas was chosen 69th overall. Obviously, from the start, a guy who's chosen 69th overall is a long shot to make the NHL. Any guy picked at 69 is a long shot. So I'm not going to blame the Habs if he doesn't make the NHL. However, although I loved the draft last year that the Habs did, I would have picked Cooper Simpson, who's going to North Dakota, who was one of the top players in the USHL this year. I know what the Habs were trying to do. They were trying to get a centerman with size. He's 6'5".
Yeah.
The problem is I find him. I would like to show more competitiveness on his part. And if he scored a lot, well, you could forgive him for that. He scored goals, but he doesn't. And at times he's a little bit frustrating because he looks like he could be a great hockey player. I know it's a cliche, but we often say he looks like a hockey player.
Yeah.
Like a hockey player. I mean, he's very imposing on the ice.
He's got some good abilities.
Yeah. I just wish that he put in like more effort. You see in the playoffs, you need everyone like to play every shift like it's their last. And unfortunately, Papanekas doesn't. But look, he has another year left in the WHL. Maybe he'll explode next year. Get to join the Laval Rocket the year after. So he's a long-term project. But like every third-round pick, he's a long shot.
That's it. And for eagle-eyed viewers, on the graphic, it said Tisha Ginla was picked in 2025. I grabbed this off of the CHL website. So they made a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, it's 2024. Okay. So basically, he's going to be playing in the American Hockey League or Utah for sure next year.
Exactly. But it's funny. I'm reading that. I'm like, that doesn't work. He was picked after Demidov.
I found it strange too, the number 6 overall in 2025.
So blame the CHL website for that. Okay. I did not make that graphic. I just stole it from them. On to the Saguenay de Chicoutimi now.
Yes.
The champions of the Q. What a loaded team they had. Of course, they had the reigning MVP, Maxime Massé, but they also had a good amount of prospects as well. Lucas Beckman for the Ottawa Senators, right? Alexis Bernier, Émile Guité, Alex Wang, Thomas Lavoie, Maxime Massé, Maxim Schaefer. 7 total drafted players there. Some quality players, man.
Beckman in goal is very, very good. He's always had good stats. Ever since he started his career in Baie-Comeau.
Yeah.
I think he is a legit NHL prospect. and Ottawa needs help in goal eventually, but he'll need a few seasons in the American Hockey League. He's no Jacob Fowler yet. Alexis Bernier just signed his contract. Bernier was one of my sleepers in 2024 in the sense that I didn't see like a superstar or anything. I mean, don't rush to pick him in your keeper's pool. But I think he has that kind of he knows how to play the game, and you need defensemen like him, bottom six defensemen. So a number 5 or number 6, I think he does have a chance to play. Émile Guité, we'll see. He was a great player in midget hockey with Caleb Desnoyers. He had a so-so draft year, and that's why he was picked 159th overall. This year he was better. Alex Wong, going to Harvard next year. Alex Wong, my comparable, and I'm not big on comparables, but this one I really found, I think, a good one. Jordan Spence of the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, yeah.
I see that type of player, like an offensive, a smallish, I would say. Although he's 6 foot tall, but you know what I mean. He's not a big guy. A smallish offensive defenseman, very smart. And on the ice and off the ice, obviously, he's going to Harvard. But I see perhaps a career path a la Jordan Spence.
That'd be good.
I see that type of player. That would be good. Thomas Lavoie, I think, will make the NHL. He's a huge, okay, no pun intended, he's a mammoth. So
there you go.
I think this is another guy that could carve a niche for himself as a strong defenseman in the NHL. So no superstar in that group, but a few guys who have a chance to make it. Maxime Massé, interesting case. Leading scorer in the Q this year, going to university next year, because unlike most 19-year-old drafted junior players, he has not signed his contract yet with Anaheim. And he was the 66th overall pick. He was an early third-round pick. Why doesn't Anaheim want to sign him? I don't know. Because normally they should sign him and send him to San Diego next year, like they always do. So I don't know what it is with him. I know his skating is not great. That's been an issue ever since he was a midget player, because his offensive skills are really, really, really good. So I don't know if any kind of power skating coach could do something with him, because I think that's what might be the difference between an NHL player and an American hockey player for Maxime.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that Alex Wang was drafted by the Nashville Predators. Again, whoever's writing this for the CHL, go back to school.
Well, there's no proofreader, obviously.
No, that's it. Anyways, I didn't make the graphics, I'm telling you. Okay. Last team here with the least amount of drafted players, but maybe not for long, but there's one big omission.
There's one big
Everett Silver Tips. The Silver Everett.
The Silver. You need a proofreader too, Shayne.
Snake, it's latching onto me now. I'm getting stupider. 5 drafted players. Obviously, Carter Bear is the headliner here, drafted 11th overall in the last year's draft. Shea Bush, Julius Mietinen by the Kraken, 40th overall. That's a good pick there. Terrence Smith, also very good pick by the Ducks. Snake, Landon Dupont's not on the list. He's going to be next year. But do you make anything of the fact that they have the least amount of drafted players on the team?
Not really, because I think it's also about quality, and it's also about some guys are good for junior hockey, but not necessarily draftable, if you know what I mean, by the NHL. So it doesn't mean anything. And their best player, their leader, the best player in the tournament is Landon Dupont.
Yeah.
He's 16 years old. Odds-on favorite to be the number 1 pick in 2027. He will have competition from Alexis Joseph, Nazar Privalov, Russian guy. But I think for now, he's the number 1 guy. He's a defenseman. He's the total package.
Yeah.
I would say he's the best. I would say the best since. Well, there was Matthew Schaefer that happened. Otherwise, I would have said probably the best since Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But there was Matthew Schaefer in between. Carter Bear, I love. He was my he was probably not my favorite player from the 2025 draft, obviously, but he was probably the guy that I valued the most in the sense of that he would outperform his rank of selection. However, he was still drafted pretty high at number 11. I thought he was going to go 17 or 18. He went 11. Detroit needs scoring. They need good players, because it's not enough. They're just close to making the playoffs year after year, but they don't make the playoffs. I think this is a guy who's going to be one of the top players in the tournament. And so DuPont and Bear for Everett. The games start at 9:00 Eastern time. So I know the Habs are playing right now, and there's also a great series between Vegas and Colorado. But if people have a chance to tune in, TSN, RDS, it's going to be a good tournament because there is no powerhouse this year. There are no London Knights. No London Knights like last year, which was very predictable that they were going to win. This year, who knows? I would say in order of, if you look at on paper, it's Everett, Kitchener, Chicoutimi, and Kelowna. But I would say that the gap between the top three teams is very, very narrow. Plus, Kelowna plays at home. So I wouldn't bet a dime on this tournament this year.
No. It's going to be fun, though. It's going to be very competitive. There's going to be good parity. So, you know where to tune in. And listen, even if you don't, we're going to talk about it as the tournament goes on. Monday, we're going to recap the action that happened. But Snake, moving forward to another tournament going underway currently, the World Championships, which is always an interesting event because obviously a lot of players don't want to go. Some are still playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So teams are a little unbalanced. I mean, you look at Team USA, they're horrible, just horrible in this tournament. Probably the worst squad they've brought in a long, long time. And the best team in the tournament right now is Switzerland. Switzerland is dominating. Look, Canada's it's 3-3 against Norway as we're recording this. It's an interesting tournament.
It's kind of interesting. Obviously, come medal round time, you're going to see things become like more logical. But during the tournament, I mean, you don't know because very often the best players of these countries can kind of match up with the best players of Canada, let's say, because Canada sent Celebrini and Crosby, but in the end, it's not the Olympic team.
No.
So that's why there's always, when you have a team like, that has JJ Moser and Nico Ishier, Nito Niederreiter, Roman Josi. I mean, it's still good. It's still top heavy.
Yeah. Sven Andrighetto for your Habs fans is leading the tournament in points.
Yeah, Sven Andrighetto, 8 points. Yeah. Look, and the ice surface is bigger. So a lot of these players now, they play in Europe, although they played in the NHL before, like Andrighetto. They are used to the ice surface. And but I think come medal round we'll see something different. However, Switzerland's going to be there. But I thought at first that for the medal rounds, for the semifinals, my idea was that it was going to be Finland, maybe the States, but the top teams are really in Group B because you have Canada, you have Czechia, you have Slovakia, and you have Sweden. And Sweden's in 5th place right now.
Yeah.
They could miss the medal round.
Crazy.
But I think they do crossovers. So obviously that's going to help balance everything out. So not all the Group B teams are going to be playing against each other. I think it's a good system, because if there's a strong group, then they're going to be facing weaker opponents from the other group. So in the end, you have to beat the best teams to win a medal. And I think Canada has a pretty good chance. I mean, I mean, they're 3-0. I don't know what's happening as we're recording right now. There is a game against Norway.
Yeah, still 3-3.
It's still
heading into the third, I believe. Yeah,
exactly. So I think Canada will prevail, and medal round starts next Thursday. So we still have a few days of that tournament go on. We still have these matchups, like, Denmark against Norway or whatever. But the top 8 teams will make it. I miss Russia in these tournaments, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm more like a hockey guy than a political guy. So I would like, and Russian players are playing in the NHL. They're playing in junior hockey. It's kind of like you miss one big opponent. There's quite a few players coming out of Russia in the next few years. The 2009 born crop is absolutely amazing. And they're going to have a lot of guys drafted in 2027. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you guys posted about the World Hockey Championships. Games happen mostly in the morning, early afternoon. So, the Memorial Cup and the World Championships with the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Habs being alive, I think unfortunately it hurts the ratings, but that's what it is in late May. Yeah.
You work with what you got. Listen, another reason why, we're specifically, following along with the World Championships is mostly for Team Sweden.
Yeah.
Players in particular. Obviously, Ivar Stenberg is the guy that we're keying in on because he's a potential first overall pick. 4 points in 4 games so far. He's playing on the first line with the other guy that we're, focusing on, Viggo Bjork and Lucas Raymond. That's a pretty nice first line. But what do you make of their tournament so far, and if at all there's any impact in the draft?
Well, I obviously watched the game against Canada, and I think we've talked about it on Monday. And I'm focusing on the games where they play against teams that have the most NHL players.
Of course.
And so far, what I've seen from them is that they are not dominant, but they are really good against NHL opposition.
Yeah.
And Bjork is a 2008 born player, which means that he's going to be 18 years old next year. I would think that he will go back to Sweden unless the team that drafts him maybe could put him in the American Hockey League, the way Buffalo did with Konsta. But usually with Swedish players, they go back to Sweden. So I think he's going to be back in Sweden next year. He's a small guy, but he doesn't play small, and he's highly skilled. So I've heard comparisons with Marco Rossi because he's a 5'9" centerman, but I think he's better than Rossi is. So Bjork might be in my top 10. Not sure yet. Might be in my top 10. As for Stenberg, it's a big dilemma. You can tell that he's highly skilled, but he's no Gavin McKenna in terms of vision, in terms of creativity, in terms of quickness, But who do you want in the playoffs? Do you want Gavin McKenna or do you want Ivar Stenberg? And that's going to be the debate that Toronto will have. And I
have to make the playoffs first.
First. And I think they're going to pick McKenna because it would be, and I feel the same way. I love Stenberg. I had him number 1 on my list for most of the season, but I realized that Gavin McKenna is going to be a point producer.
It's the ceiling.
It's the ceiling. Exactly. So he plays on the perimeter and so do a lot of players in the NHL and they still make points.
Kucherov.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's I haven't decided yet, but I know that it would be hard to pass on McKenna for those reasons. Is he going to end up being the best player in the draft? Not necessarily. It's very close between the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But it would be very risky. And it was the same thing about Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard, I wasn't sold on the fact that he would become a generational player like some analysts thought. I think
the World Juniors, like the World Juniors.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with this.
That's it.
Yeah, you have to be careful with this. And I think in the case of Bedard, I don't think he will be the generational player. I thought Macklin Celebrini was better at the time, and I think he will be better. But it was hard to pass on Bedard because of the ceiling, the points. Bedard is probably going to be a 100-point scorer in the NHL.
Yeah.
So that's why I had him number 1 in 2023. Although, I was like, well, Leo Carlson, he's a bigger centerman. He's highly skilled, and Carlson is great. But and maybe at some point, maybe Carlson will have a better career. But at the time of the draft, if you're in doubt, okay, pick the guy with the high ceiling who's going to score points.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you're risking, you're risking making a big mistake. And sometimes it does happen that, if you look at, I'll go back to 1987 when I don't even know if your parents knew each other, Shayne.
Yeah.
You didn't know each other in 1987?
I believe.
Okay.
I don't know.
So, because you're born in 2000, so that's why I'm asking. So, Pierre Turgeon went number 1. Brendan Shanahan went number 2. And I remember at the time, there was a debate because Shanahan was more of a character player on top of being a good scorer. Pierre Turgeon was mini Mario Lemieux in terms of hands, the skating, the build. Pierre Turgeon was so gracious, and he was an amazing junior player.
Yeah.
Buffalo took Turgeon because you couldn't pass on Pierre Turgeon. But really, who had the better career? I think it's Brendan Shanahan. He on top of scoring 650 some goals, he was quite a leader. He was physical. He was not a very good hockey operations guy in Toronto. But we're
he wasn't drafted for that, though. Yeah.
No. Brendan Shanahan, respect, because this is a guy who went number 2. And I'm not saying that McKenna is going to be Turgeon and that Stenberg is going to be Shanahan. I doubt that Stenberg is going to score 650 goals in the NHL. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm trying to compare, it's hard when you have 2 types of players. One of them, you see a lot of intangibles. The other one, you see a natural. Gavin McKenna is a natural. So that's my take on Stenberg.
That's the beauty of the draft. And normally, Snake, I would say, listen, we'll revisit the draft after the playoffs and all that. But the show isn't over. And we've got 2 great mailbag questions to get to. And they happen to be about the draft. So, Jimmy, let's go digging in the mailbag. All right, question number 1. This one is coming from Flyby Lewis. Hi, Snake. Everybody sees the Sharks pick a defenseman at 19, and it looks like the 2 best defensemen past the top 15 to 20 are Blale and Villeneuve. Which one do you pick if you're Mike Greer? I see the Sharks trade that pick in a package to advance in the top 10, but it's too many assumptions. Snake, what do you think?
That's kind of a loaded question because, first of all, will the Sharks pick a defenseman at number 2? If they do pick a defenseman at number 2, will they pick another defenseman at number 19 or 20? They're getting the Oilers pick. I think it's the 20th pick. Anyway, the rankings came out this morning. Tommy Blyle and Xavier Villeneuve are the top 2 offensive defensemen available. Mm-hmm. Obviously, but there's a guy named William Hackinson in Sweden who's 6'4", more of a defensive guy, which might be more the type that Mike Greer is looking for. They already have some smallish defensemen in the American Hockey League, Nicholas Avlid and Luca Cangoni as puck movers. So I don't know if they're going to go the smaller puck mover way in the draft, but it always depends on what they do at number 2. If they take Carson Karls or Chase Reed, I really doubt they're going to take another offensive defenseman. But if they do take Stenberg, for instance, then they might be looking for a puck mover, or that's how they could look for a puck mover. Who would I pick of the 2? Let's say it would be Villeneuve, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think he has I think he has a higher ceiling in the NHL. He was injured this year. He did not have the season that a lot of people thought he would have, because last year was absolutely fantastic. But I think it's just circumstantial, and he has some. You can see shades of Lane Hudson when he plays. I'm not saying he's the next Hudson, because I don't think anyone's the next Hudson for a while. But he plays a little bit like Lane Hudson. He's not big, but he's not afraid to go in the corner with tougher guys. And as for the Sharks trading, look, they did it a couple of years ago when they got Sam Dickinson at 11. They moved up from 14 to 11. It's not impossible. They might move up again. They would have to give up something, however, because when you move from 19 or 20 to the top 10, it's not like moving from 14 to 11. 14 to 11, you can give away, I don't know, a second round draft pick, and it's going to do the job. But if you move from 20 to top 10, especially in a draft like this, where after the top 10, 12 players, we're starting to talk about third line guys and number 4 defensemen, number 5 defensemen. I don't see it happening unless they give something up. And I don't think the Sharks, unless they really love a player, I don't think they're going to give up any of their young players.
No, exactly.
No.
Listen, it's worth asking the question, and thank you to Flyby Lewis for that question. Again, we're going to dive deep into the draft once June rolls around, which is like in 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. But until then, we've got a second question to get to, still about the draft, this time related to the Canadiens. This one is coming from our good friend, Alexei Novikov. Hey, Simo and Shane. Hey, Alexei. Big fan of the program. Always interesting insights. We're a big fan of you, my friend. I have a question about the Habs pick. If I understand correctly, they'll pick somewhere between 28th and 31st. Actually, yeah, they can't really, because the Ottawa situation is it's interesting. But regardless, depending on the outcome of the playoffs, what position would you focus on in that range? Defenseman or forward? Considering that Arbor Xhekaj played fewer than 2 minutes Game 7, it seems that there are still questions about the defense group. I remember Tony on one of the podcasts saying that the Habs need another Caden Gooley. There is a player who resembles him a little bit in Nikita Sherbakov, a left shot defenseman with similar height, played a bit with Zarovsky and Salavat this season. He's ranked 27th by Elite Prospect, exactly around where the Habs should pick. Would be great to hear your opinion. Thank you, Alexei, for the question.
Yes, that's a very good question. First of all, I think when you draft that low, just pick a player that you like, in the sense that I don't think you should necessarily. It's not really the best available player, because best available player, when you get to 28, 29, there's not much of a gap on your list because obviously the guy you draft 28 or 29 is going to be higher on your list. Okay, that's normal. Could be a guy who's like 17 on your list or 19 on your list, whatever. But I think just take the guy you prefer. Because I think the Habs, they do need defensemen, they do need big forwards, but they're all going to be projects, these guys. Okay, this is all a 3-4 year thing. The Habs might win a Stanley Cup in the meantime. So so it's not we're not in 2022 anymore, where every player drafted in the first couple of rounds was a possibility to make the team within 2 years. Okay, this long-term project. Sherbakov, I do like. He's tall. He's a little bit lanky right now, but he's 6'5", but he's not even 200 pounds. I think he'll need time to bulk up. Will it be in the KHL? Will it be in Laval? We'll see. He's already 18 years old. He's a late birthday, 2007, so he's going to play his 19-year-old season next year. And he is mobile. He carries the puck, and he's strong. So it's not a bad idea. There's also William Hackinson that I just mentioned on defense. If you want a big, strong defenseman, because I do agree with Tony that the Habs need another Caden Gooley.
Yeah.
But again, the Habs are contenders now. So you're drafting for the future, really. Now you're not drafting to fill out a need next year.
And that's if they draft.
If they
might trade that pick.
They might trade that pick, and it would be okay to trade that pick because right now the Habs are in the thick of things, and I do love draft picks. But I also realize at some point that, you know, the 29th pick or 30th pick overall, whatever, is years away from the NHL, and is the odds of making the NHL are much lower than the guy you pick at 16, let's say.
Of course.
Now, to conclude on this, my pick probably would have been Maddox Dagenet from the Quebec Ramparts.
He's there, yeah.
I think he's going to be a fantastic middle of the lineup player. He has character, he has size, he's skilled. I think he could be a fantastic third line player on a very strong team. However, I think he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Had the Habs picked 21, 22, 23, I would have said, yeah, okay. I think Maddox Dagenet is going to be gone. He could be a top 20 pick. One thing is sure, he's going to be in my top 20. But I do think he's going to be picked before the Habs pick.
Yeah.
So would the Habs go for a Tommy Blyle, for instance, who could be available? Look, anything's possible right now. We're going to dig into these late first round picks because now we know that the Habs are going to pick between 28 and 31.
That's it.
So we do know it's going to be a very low pick. Look, they found Zarovsky at 34 last year. I think what could happen, and what happens sometimes, most guys drafted in the late first round, chances are either they're not going to make it or they're certainly not going to be stars. But once in a while, you have a player that's very high on your list that for some reason falls and falls and falls. And then you're thinking, wow, still there.
Yeah.
He was 13th on my list. So I think you have to hope for that for the Habs. But like you said, Shayne, they might never make that pick.
Unlikely. I would say unlikely that they pick. I think that we're going to be seeing some trades, plural, this summer. But Snake, to avoid any kind of confusion for anybody who's not familiar with the Ottawa Senators situation that I referred to in Alexi's question, the Habs cannot pick 32nd. That's why Alexi said 31st. Even if the Habs win the Cup, the Ottawa Senators are 100% picking 32nd because, they got their first round pick back. And, the conditions were it had to be the last pick of the first round. So that's why I just wanted to clarify for anybody who potentially could have been confused by that. And thank you, Alexi, for the question. Who emailed the question. Listen, if you don't want to send it in the chat on YouTube, you can also email it. We take them just as well. So thank you for that. If you're not subscribed yet, people, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You know the drill by now, okay? We're not stopping all the way up until after free agency. So no summer off for us. Well, we get a few months here. Get a few months, but there's nothing happening in late July, August.
After July 2nd, it's pretty quiet until rookie camp.
So anyways, we'll be back in September afterwards, but until then, there's more playoffs. There's the draft. There's going to be trades. There's going to be free agency. This is the place to be. Let me tell you, okay, we're going to break it all down. We answer your questions. We'll even go through your topic recommendations. And if you don't want to watch us, you can also listen to us. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. All the listening platforms you can think of, we're there. So We don't take offense if you don't want to see our faces. It's all good. We still appreciate the support. Snake, anything else to add before we wrap this one up?
No, we're going to have lots of NHL games to talk about on Monday. Habs playing twice, and Vegas, Colorado playing twice, and a few Memorial Cup games to recap.
Can't wait. Cannot wait. We'll be back again on Monday, like Snake said. Don't miss it. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when we upload the new episode. For Simon the Snake Boisvert, I'm producer Shayne. Thank you to producer Jimmy back at Master Control. This has been another edition of the Sick Podcast. Trust the process. We'll see you Monday. Take care.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, Trust the Process on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.